My parents made me pay $1,500 a month to stay under their roof, while my sister lived rent-free. When I turned 22, I moved back home after college because I couldn't find a stable job right away. My parents insisted I contribute financially, so they set the rent at $1,500 a month. I didn't have that kind of money, but they didn't care. They told me it was fair because my sister had been living there for years without paying a cent. She was fresh out of college, pursuing her passion project, which apparently exempted her from reality. The first month, I scrambled. Between part-time shifts at a cafe and tutoring, I barely scraped together $2,200. My parents weren't impressed. They lectured me about responsibility while my sister lounged on the couch, scrolling through social media, eating snacks I couldn't afford to buy. The imbalance stung, but I tried to convince myself it was temporary. By month 3, I was exhausted. I had been working 60 to 70 hours a week across jobs, missing nights out with friends, and constantly stressed. Every time I came home, my sister's room smelled like takeout, and she bragged about small side gigs that didn't amount to real money. My parents treated her like the golden child, praising her creativity and potential, while they scrutinized my every expenditure. One evening, I came home after an 11-hour shift, drained, only to hear my sister whining that she needed a new camera for her project. My dad immediately said, "We'll figure it out, sweetie." My mom chimed in about how important it was to support her dreams. I sat in the kitchen eating ramen again, and my anger bubbled up. I wanted to shout, wanted to point out that I was working my ass off to pay rent, yet I was living like a tenant in my own home, while my sister was treated like royalty. The tension escalated over the next few months. I started keeping track of the bills I paid, printing bank statements, and noting everything I contributed. Groceries, utilities, the occasional repair they asked me to handle. I quietly compared it to my sister, who hadn't spent a dime beyond her side gig savings that went toward her hobbies. I felt invisible, financially punished for existing, while she basked in unchecked freedom. One Friday, after another exhausting week, I sat at the dining table with my laptop and spreadsheets open. My sister walked in, casually tossing her bag onto the sofa. "Hey, I think I want to upgrade my camera again," she said. My mom immediately nodded, asking how she'd pay for it. She didn't even glance at me. I slammed my laptop shut and walked to my room. I left a note on the counter. "Effective immediately, I am moving out. You can keep the rent and the guilt. Enjoy treating one child better than the other." I packed only what I could carry in my car and left that night. I didn't call, didn't text, didn't leave an address. For the first time in years, I felt free. Within weeks, I found a small apartment I could afford on my own, juggling work, but finally on my own terms. A month later, my mom called, furious, demanding why I left without notice. My dad tried guilt trips about family and responsibility. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The reality I lived under had no room for fairness, only favoritism. My sister called me too, begging me to come back, saying they would figure something out. I ignored her as well. I had already started renting a cheap storage locker for the things I couldn't carry, and I was okay. For the first time, I was paying for myself, living by my own rules, and it was worth every uncomfortable hour I'd spent saving. Months later, I ran into a neighbor of theirs who casually mentioned my sister was struggling to cover her own bills now. My parents were still insisting she didn't need to work full-time because her dreams were important. I smiled quietly, knowing that I had escaped a system built to favor one child over the other, and I would never let anyone dictate my worth again.